You don't want any part of this.
Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today we've got for you guys is my non-spoilery Spider-Man Far From Home review. As always, if you do want to talk specifics down in the comments, just make sure to warn those who haven't had a chance to see the movie yet, but with that out of the way, let's do as Spidey does and web swing right into this review. So, Spider-Man Far From Home, the sequel to Homecoming and sort of the unofficial epilogue to Avengers Endgame, it picks up pretty much right where we left off at the end of Endgame. Everyone that was snapped away has now come back, and those who originally survived the snapshot have now aged up 5 years. And now with everyone back and things slowly returning to normal and summer starting up, Peter goes along with his class on a little vacation all throughout Europe and wants absolutely nothing to do with being Spider-Man and just wants to take this time to relax, hang out with Ned, and maybe work up the courage to tell MJ how he really feels along the way. But as we all saw from the trailer, Elementals, Mysterio, the whole shebang, did I just say shebang? Anyway, Nick Fury hijacks Peter's vacation and recruits him to team up alongside Quentin Beck to fight against these elemental creatures, so a huge part of this film is Peter having to take on this huge new responsibility now that Tony Stark is gone. He's been called in by Nick Fury himself to step up and save the world, and I really loved this aspect of the film. Peter's still struggling with wanting to be a kid, but knowing that with the power he has and after the events of Endgame, he has a responsibility to be Spider-Man when he is needed the most. So I really did enjoy Peter's arc within this movie, had such a great support system as well. Aunt May being fully aware of Peter being Spider-Man was great. Happy was also pretty awesome in that sort of mentor role as well as Nick Fury giving Peter the kind of tough love he needed to push himself forward, and then the new friendship he found with a fellow hero, Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, aka Fishbowl Boy, who I have to say was my favorite character in the film outside of Peter himself. I thought that Jake Gyllenhaal did an amazing job as Mysterio within this film. He's pretty different from the Mysterio that most of us are used to, and that's really all I can say, but I thought he did an amazing job within that role. All of his interactions with Peter were great, and it really seemed like from the press junkets and stuff that Tom and Jake really built a great friendship while working on this film, and it really shows within the final product. Speaking of characters, Peter and Ned's friendship was great as always. I also really did love the sort of awkward back and forth between Peter and MJ throughout the film. Such a different MJ compared to the days of the Raimi films or the classic comic storylines, but I feel like this is a great version of the character to have for the MCU and for Peter to sort of play off of. Both Peter and MJ are similar in the fact that they are super awkward and don't really know how to express their feelings that they have for each other within this movie, and then that just kind of seems like a sort of natural thing between the both of these characters. So I really did enjoy that aspect of the movie as well. As for the visuals, all of the different cities that they visited throughout the movie looked really nice. Maybe I'll have to vacation one day and get the Far From Home experience, but I thought this movie actually had some really good CGI as well. The Iron Spider suit early on in the film looked better than ever. All of Peter's other suits looked amazing as well. They were still covered up a little bit with some CGI, but they looked much better than they did in Homecoming, which is definitely a nice little upgrade there. But with the physical suits being so beautiful, I just wish they would stop trying to touch them up with CG, but they definitely are on the right track here. The stealth suit as well as the brand new black and red suits were easily my favorites throughout the film. But moving back to visuals, you also had some really great effects in here with Mysterio just because of the way his powers work. One scene in particular that I won't spoil, but if you have seen the movie, you probably know what I'm alluding to. But this is the scene with Mysterio where they just went full on crazy comic book mode, and it was absolutely amazing. So overall, I have to say this movie did not disappoint. It is an awesome summer superhero movie, and it's a great Spider-Man story as well, so chalk that up as another great Spider-Man film. I honestly think I liked Far From Home even more than Homecoming, and I thought that was a great one too. Not really sure where I'd place it in my full Spider-Man movie ranking, but it's definitely up there as one of the better ones. If I had any negatives with this film, I'd say there were a couple of things from the trailers that I wish were in the final cut, but I do know that they are part of something on the home release, so that's a nice thing. And I guess some people could end up having problems with the way that certain things from Infinity War and Endgame were referenced and turned into kind of the butt of jokes, but I guess it was just, it wasn't super distracting. I thought some of the jokes were pretty funny. funny. I thought some of them were a little bit like, really? You kind of went there? But, you know, I thought it was pretty fun. So in the end, really loved this movie and how it ended up being a bit of a larger scale film, yet a smaller and more intimate Peter Parker story about him just wanting to have a fun vacation and hang out with his friends, all while still having a responsibility to be Spider-Man. Very fun, pretty funny, and a heartfelt Spider-Man story with some awesome large-scale action set pieces and some pretty great emotional beats as well. So for sure, go out and see this movie. See it in IMAX if you can. It really looks great up on the largest screen possible. I think if you're a fan of Spider-Man, I see this one as an absolute win. There are plenty of awesome twists, some great Easter eggs and comic references, and make sure to stay for both post-credit scenes, two of the best, and the way this movie ends is just plain awesome. So with that said, let me know what you guys thought about all of this down in the comments below. Have you seen Far From Home yet? And if you have, what do you think? If not, are you excited to go see it at some point in the future? I want to know your thoughts on all of this down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.